All right, you guys, so welcome back. Like I said in the last section, we're going to be going over, in this section, we're going to be going over the browser, like file menu inside of the Maschine. I think that this is what really sets Maschine apart from any other DAW, any other Groove production box, whatever that's out there. Maschine is really crushing the game when it comes to navigating the different sounds, the plugins that it offers, just the hierarchy of how they organize everything. You can literally navigate to any sound that you want inside of your Maschine library right from the hardware. So I'm gonna show you guys how they got it set up and how to access those different areas. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at this really quick. So in the last video, we talked about the different sections. So now we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into the browser section. So right here is over to your left. This is where you can navigate to all the different sounds inside of Maschine and inside of your actual computer via hard drive. So this top file, these top two tabs right here, this is your library. Your library is literally everything inside of the Maschine hardware or that you have mapped to be inside of your Maschine. And then your files library, this is where you can actually navigate inside of your computer to the different hard drives that you got installed. For example, I have my E drive right here, and I go to all sounds. Now this is all of my sound library that I have on that E hard drive. Now what I can do is, and what I typically do is, if you right click on that and add to favorites, what it'll do is it'll add it to your favorites up here, so you can just get to it very quickly just by clicking on that, and you don't have to navigate inside of your folders. Another good tidbit, if you want to start importing these sounds so you can be able to browse them inside of Maschine library, then what you have to do is you have to right click on this and you have to import to library, or you can come down here and select this tab right here. It already exists, I already did that. So let's try to do one other thing. Let's try kicks and see if that'll work. I already did that one too. So let's come back out of here and let's just go to volume 7. No, let's go to volume 9. And what we'll do is from volume 9, come over here, let's say fills. Now if I hit import right here, now I can navigate down here and find fills. If they don't have it down here, they don't have it. So I can just hit that right there and say fills, boom, boom. And now it just created a subsection for me. And then if I come back over here and fills, just have that clicked and I hit okay. Wow. Now when I come back to the library tab and click on this human person right here, and we go inside of one shots over here, now I have that fills library mapped inside the library inside of Maschine, which is super duper dope. So I kind of got a little ahead of myself. So that's how you would map any of your sounds from your library into Maschine's library. So now you can actually browse on the hardware inside of Maschine instead of having to look in your hard drive. Now if you don't do that, then you won't be able to browse those sounds via the controller. But if you do that, then you'll be able to browse those sounds via the controller on the hardware. So I can literally navigate all of my sounds right here from the hardware, and you don't even have to look at the computer. So that's a super dope tidbit for you guys to keep in mind. So this is your file section, and that's how you navigate all your samples within any folders or anything that you have on your hard drive. Now let's move over to the library tab, and let's move back to this tab right here. And I'm gonna double click on this right here. And I got to get off of the user because it's showing me all of my user projects. This button right here, this shows you all of the things that you've saved inside of Maschine. This is the user. So I want to come back over here, and like for example, if I go right here, these are all of my projects that I've created, like day 1, 3, 4, whatever. So you don't have to go up here and open and load. You can just come right here and it'll show you all of your projects. So since we're in the project tab, but I'm gonna take that off. And what's super cool about Maschine that a lot of people really don't know about is this project tab. I wish I would have known about this when I first started off. Why? Because I had to learn different workflows on my own and trial and errors, and I never really clicked in here. So what is a project? Our project is a pre-built project that Maschine or Native Instruments have. They've completed a full-on project, and whenever you buy these different expansion packs, there's different projects with those sounds and everything that they've included in that expansion pack. So, matter of fact, we'll go back over here and let's go to a Native Instruments Maschine project. I want to make sure we select on something that all of you guys have access to. So now we're in the Maschine projects. So these are the projects that come standard with the Maschine hardware. When you first get out of the box, you can double click on one of these and it'll load it up. But before we do that, I want to come talk about these banks. So as Maschine update, they update their library and you can just navigate to the different libraries that they have. But I typically keep that just on all banks and I'll navigate them all together. This section right here tells you what type of obviously what type of project you want to load. So we're gonna go to hip hop here and I'm gonna just double click on it and it's gonna ask me, do I want to load that project? And I'm gonna hit discard, yes. Or do I want to save that project? Hit discard. Then it loaded up this project right here. Now, why do I think that this is so important? Man, I think that this is so important because, like I said, I didn't have anybody telling me how to figure out the workflows. So if you notice here, this is a complete project. Right now we're in the songs view. If I click over here, this is the ideas view. They label their scene 1, 2, 3, whatever. If I click on another project here, let's try to find one that's labeled by different sections and everything. Like your intro. Nope. None of these people labeled theirs. Okay, so yeah. So this one right here, it shows like your intro, your verse A, verse B, hook, outro. And I didn't really understand how to arrange inside a Maschine until I started looking at these projects. And another thing is that it actually shows me how they created what they created. So if I come back over here to, let's say, intro, a verse. Now if I hit play, now, what's cool about that is I can actually go through here and say, okay, man, that's super dope. They did this in this section. They did that in that section. And this is how they arranged all of their projects to create this beat. Now that gives me a sense of how I can work and I can just build different workflows. So if you are new to Maschine and you don't have any idea of what kind of workflow you really like, go through some of these projects and just take a look at how they set everything up. So that's your project tab right there. So let's come over here to our next. Matter of fact, let's, you know, it doesn't matter. We'll leave that how it is. Let's come back over here to all groups. Now groups, I'm not gonna lie, this is where I spend 90% of my time because I really like the Maschine, well, this and the instruments tab, but I really like Maschine expansions. So groups are like kits. So if I'm gonna come over here to, let's say, faded reels. Matter of fact, let's open up a new project from the start. All right, so I got faded reels right here. So if I click on one of these, Maschine has loaded up an entire kit. Now, what's super dope about this is all of the pads on the Maschine all of the pads on Maschine are preloaded with sounds and samples that sounds really good that they have put together. So they got all of these different type of kits. And if I come down here to the bottom tab right here, if I click on routing and pattern, and if I click on this, if what it is patterns, it just gives me a whole bunch of different patterns up here, preloaded and everything like that. If I take that off and if I load a kit really quick, you know what, let me shift clear right here. Let me get rid of this events, boom, and let me preload another kit really quick. Now you notice that I loaded that kit, but it doesn't have anything on it as far as like patterns or whatnot. So that's how you get rid of it, loading the patterns. I typically leave patterns off because I don't want it to load all of my patterns. Or in routing, the same thing. I don't want it to keep redoing my routing whenever I load a kit. So I turn that off. But it's routing is pretty much how it routes, like the inputs and outputs and all that other different stuff. But I just turn that off and I don't really mess with that. Now this button right here is kind of like the cycling button. If I want to load a new kit, just when I click on it, you notice that all of these change. And as I browse, it changes to the different kit that I'm selected on. I typically turn that off. I just want to hear the kits and I don't want to load them up every single time. So So that's how you load different expansion packs and different kits. And you can even create your own, which I'm gonna show you guys how to do down the line, where you can actually navigate and start to have your own kits and everything like that. So boom, let's get out of that. Let's go over here to this next tab right here, and I'm gonna delete this because we don't need all of those. Now these are all of your different sounds within these different expansion packs and everything like that. Whenever I go to, let's go back to faded reels because we were in that, and let's load this choir. Now what's unique about the sound section is that whenever it loads up a sound, it's a little bit different from like our one shot section over here. Whenever it loads up a sound, it loads it up with like all the pre plugins and everything. Like I got lo-fi, reverb, cabinet and everything like that. So when I go over here, it's already treated with different plugins and stuff. So that's the benefit of loading sounds within a Maschine and the expansion packs, that it already have the plugins and everything. So, and I'm gonna talk about what's like, why is that different from the one shots where you can load up different sounds and everything, but it loads it up in a sampler and it doesn't have any of those plugins. So that's the main difference between one shots and sounds. Now, if I come back over here to instruments, this instrument section inside of Maschine is probably my favorite tab outside of the kits and group section. Why? Because this is what really sets Native Instruments apart. Bro, like Native Instruments have some of the best sounds on the market, and this is how you navigate through them. So if I come right here, I can either come over here and I can browse by category, meaning that I got my drum and percussive instruments, Native Instruments like plugins. I got my sampled instruments. I got whatever I could think of is right here. I got specialized synthesizers, or you can even go a step further and browse this bad boy by vendors. Now, why is that important? Because Native Instruments has something that's called NKS compatibility, meaning that some of these companies, like one of my favorite, Arteria, they make their plugins and their instruments NKS compatible, meaning I can browse all of those external third-party plugins. Like right here, I have this APR 2600V from Arteria, but I have all the sound library from that automatically inside of the Maschine, and I can go over here and browse by bass. I can use the same hierarchy system that Maschine has to offer, Native Instruments has to offer inside the Maschine. I don't have to pull up that plugin to start navigating the different sounds. Like if you had like Omnisphere or something like that, then you have to actually pull that up and then navigate the sounds like that. So that's super duper dope. If you are looking for external other companies and you really rock with the Maschine and you want them to be able to integrate with Maschine seamlessly, then make sure they have that NKS compatibility. Now, the beautiful thing about Maschine, like I said, is the hierarchy and the different ways to navigate sounds. So if I click on, if I'm on all instruments, if I click on this right here, I can navigate to any type of instrument I can think of. Let's say if I want 808, and this is not just for like, let's say this specific instrument right here. Like if I'm on analog heat, this is not just for analog heat. If I'm in all instruments, this is for every single plugin that you have loaded inside a Maschine that's NKS compatible, or any Maschine plugin that you have on your hardware or on your computer, installed on your computer. Now, if I come over here to bass, click on bass, bow, I can come over here and click on 808. Now it loads up all the different type of 808 sounds and everything like that. Let's come over here. Let's go to fingered bass or different plugins. Now, what's beautiful is I can come over here. Matter of fact, let me get rid of this this sound on here. And if I load it up, I don't know what plugin this is from, right? I don't know what plugin it's from, but when I load it up, it loaded up Jupiter 8, which isn't a Native Instruments plugin, but it is an Arteria plugin. And like I said, I can literally browse the sounds right here, and it loads up no matter what instrument it is. It'll automatically load up. So that's a reactor instrument. So that's the beauty of this. It just puts everything into different categories, and it makes it so easy to find what you're looking for. That's what really makes Maschine stand out. All right, so now let's come over here to our effects section. Now, effects section is like your compressors, your EQ, reverbs, all of that different type of stuff, flangers. This is where you can find that. You got all your effects. Now, one thing that I don't like about Maschine is that you have to actually drag and drop or double click on these to load it up to hear the what effect is being applied, right? So you have to actually drag and drop it. Now I can come over here and I can do the same thing that I did in the instrument tab, and I can browse by category, vendor, or whatnot, and the same thing that goes. So since I have Arteria here, I can actually browse some of Arteria effects and load it up here, and it loaded up an Arteria compressor right there. So that's one way you can actually load up VSTs and plugins, or different effects plugins. Or you can come right over here, and this is the way that I do it for the most part. I will come over here, hit this little plus button right here, and I can actually load up some of Native Instruments internal stuff, or I can come over here and I can control it right here, just those different internal knobs and everything like that. If it's an internal plugin, I can control it right here. But I can come over here to my VST3 and VSTs that I showed in the previous video, how you map those VSTs. This is where you can actually locate and find them. So if I want a Waves plugin, let's say CLA whatever 76, which is one of my favorite compressors, I can load this up, and boom, now I got a compressor right here in the actual vocal chain, not vocal chain, instrument chain. So it goes from reactor to this compressor to that CLA compressor. That'll make a little bit more sense when we get to mixing and all that other good stuff. But I just wanted to show you guys a quick way how you can load plugins. So you got one way where you can load effect by going right here and dragging and dropping it. You have another way where you can actually come over here and just click this plus button and it'll load it up. And then you got a third way where you can load up different instruments. You hit this little plug button right here and click that right there, and this is it. Well, we're in our mixer now, so I can do the same thing right over here in the mixer as well, but we'll talk more about that when we get over to the mixing section of this course. All right, so that is our effects and everything. Let's move over to our loops. Now, loops inside of Maschine are super dope because Native Instruments, they've given us different loops and everything, but they also given us the key of the loops, and they've given us the tempo. So say if I like that loop right there, I'm gonna get rid of this off of pad 1. And say if I like that loop, then I can either double click on it and it automatically brings up an audio engine, and that loop is automatically scratched to my tempo. Now, what's even better or even cooler, for lack of better words, is that you can, if I play these different loops, you notice that it's changing with the tempo, right? So Maschine has they've created a way that whenever I navigate through all of these sounds, it's matching my tempo, which is just super cool and super creative, man. So the same thing, you got your hierarchy. You can come over here and you can browse the different stuff and drag and drop it right there, and it'll automatically play to your tempo. Then it's synced automatically. So that's pretty cool. And I can come over here and I can actually navigate via different expansion packs. So let's go back over here to Faded Reels one more time. Where you at, Faded Reels? You in here somewhere, ain't you? I don't know. Let's go to DJ Khalil. If I like that, and I just drag and drop it right there. Now, what's super cool about this is it shows you the link, but it automatically scratched it again and looped it again for 4 bars. But if I want to come right here, it's only a 2-bar loop, so that's super cool as well. And let's go ahead and play that really quick. See what it sounds like. Now I'm gonna talk about in the later section the sampler engine and the audio engine. Right now it's under our audio engine. All of your different sounds or loops automatically load up as an audio engine, a wave file. Right now, what changes is when we go over here to this one shot. So let's go back over here to one shots. Now if I'm in one shots, these are literally like all of your different single one shots, sounds and everything inside a Maschine. Now I mentioned back here in the sound section that whenever I load up a sound from Maschine, it automatically loads up all the preloaded effects and everything. But if I come over here and I drag and drop this sound, you notice that nothing else loaded up, and it loaded up in the sampler rather than the audio engine. So this is my sounds tab right here, all your one shots and everything. You can navigate the same way that you would do, and I can come over here and navigate by expansion pack, Native Instruments, Exhale, whatever. You can do all the same things inside of the one shots, but like I said, one shots is more so all of the one shots inside a Maschine, and it doesn't load any plugins or anything on it. It just loads up the sound by itself. Now, one thing that I failed to mention, that over here in our file section, you can only load up or in preview sounds that are wave files. I don't know why Native Instruments haven't converted over to utilizing MP3. So if you got MP3s, you're gonna have to convert them to wave files before you can even load them inside of Maschines. I know it's a headache, I know it sucks, but it's something that we just got to deal with for now. Hopefully they do an update down the line. This is as of 1/29/2023. So this is January 29, 2023. So if you guys are watching this past that, they might have already came up with an update. But as of right now, you can only load up wave files. So that is a quick down and dirty version of the browser section inside a Maschine. In our next section, we're going to be taking an explore of the actual hardware in every section and every button that's on the hardware. So I'll see you guys in that next video.